Hello, everyone. It is All the Things with Julie Miller Davis, October edition, and we are so excited to be hosting Jennifer Buchholz today. And before I begin with JB, I am going to, it's JB and JMD, kind of cool. So I would just want to talk a little bit about all the things and how we came to be. And so I had done some work with the beautiful and lovely Kate Payne, who is a LinkedIn and marketing expert and PR expert. And I already had this show called Power Up Your Productivity that I'd been doing for quite a while. And she was like, I just think you really might want to do some sort of an interview show. And I was like, really? Do I want to add one more thing? And I started thinking about it and how I have access to and relationships with all of these experts across the board in business. And one of the things that I say a lot is I help people focus on the right things and start prioritizing so they can stop doing all the things. And so it was amazing to me when I started thinking about that, how many times I say all the things. So then I was on another call and we were trying to name my show and we were like, well, how, and JB was actually there. We were like, well, how about All the Things with Julie Miller Davis? And that's how we came to be. So I'm here to help you um, dig into your productivity, and I'm interviewing these beautiful people that I'm connected with, and we are talking about all the things and how to get them off your plate and dig in with some other experts and find out their productivity hacks as well. Good morning, Susie. Thank you for being here and watching us. So we're going to dig in to talking with Jennifer here. Today, I am talking with Jennifer Buchholz with Excel and Flourish. She's based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I've known Jennifer for a really long time, actually, probably 6 years or something. We've been crossing paths. Jennifer, also known as JB, is a best-selling author, entrepreneur, coach, and connector who consistently goes out of her way to help others succeed. Her passion is bringing people together so that they have the tools, support, and resources that they need to be successful. JB has worked in higher education, training, and development for over 20 years. 20 years, helping organizations and teams improve productivity and reduce frustration with Microsoft products through fun technical skills training. Oh my goodness. Good morning, JB.
Good morning, beautiful. How are you
I
today?
I am doing all right. How are you?
Good. It is a gorgeous day in Milwaukee, which means we don't have to turn the heat on yet. So that's good,
That's good.
right?
It is a beautiful day here. We can turn the heat back off. We had to have it on last week. We had a day where it was a high of I think about 43 on Friday. It
Mm.
was freezing.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was freezing. So tell us, I just gave your bio, but tell us a little bit about you and your business. Give us a little something juicy for us.
Yeah. Well, we finally just figured out like our mission statement. So you're going to get the world premiere of our mission statement, which I'm
Yes.
very excited about. So Excel and Flourish amplifies organizational productivity through engaging and relevant Microsoft 365 end user training. I know, very exciting right there. We stay current in the ever changing M365 platform to anticipate solutions to organizational needs, and our unique approach to technical training is highly interactive and problem focused, leading to an immediate productivity ROI. Julie,
Gotta
winning.
love it.
Yeah. So, in other words, we just go into companies and really help them maximize the investment that they're making in their software because I want people to have more free time. That's the core of it. More free
Right.
time to go do more fun stuff.
So do I. You and I have JB and I speak a lot of the same language. And she
Wow.
came to my Tame Your Task List uh, jumpstart that I did, 3-day jumpstart last month, and she's like, "Oh, you're speaking my language, Julie," and it actually led to us doing um, a a blog together. that we just wrote. So I know Susie's on here and she might have the link to that blog. We can just put in
Mm.
the contacts or into the comments so that you can find that blog. We would love to have you check us out because we talked about how to manage your email and how to time block a little bit and really start prioritizing. So you just talked about the problem that people have in their businesses and how you solve it. But I would love to know, Jennifer, what's a what's a productivity issue that you've had in your own business, and how did you like solve it, or what how did you dig in and shift or reprioritize, so to
You know,
speak, to fix it?
it's gonna sound like we rehearsed this, Julie, but it really was like because some of my highest personal values include like variety and creativity and freedom and stuff, I wanted to do all the things. And I love when all these different problems, that I can solve when they come flying at me. The challenge is recognizing that some of the things that even though I love to do it, it might not be the best investment of my time for my business. Um, some projects that I take on can take a lot longer than what I would scope for, and I would find that I would be losing money. So I have had to scale back and I don't know, get focused.
Mm,
It might
mm-hmm.
sound like a theme you're really familiar with.
Right.
So, and by getting really focused on not doing all the things, I can do more of the other things.
The other thing, the things that fuel you. Right? So let's talk about that. A lot of people who follow me, I know I talk about this every month, but you all know if you follow me that I get refueled by being outside in the woods. I love to also not be in the woods, but be on the tennis court, on the golf course. I love to ski. So those are a lot of the things I do to refuel, as well as if it's chilly out, reading, or if I'm just really lazy, watching a little TV or whatever. But there's things that I do to refuel that really fill up my soul. And so I would love to know for you, since you just were talking about that, what are those things for you?
It's great because in that respect, I really do consider you a role model for me because you have such a well-rounded and active life that you create your business to me, right? And this is maybe fun to hear it reflected back in what it sounds like when you're talking to your audience. But what I'm hearing you say is that like you create space and make it a priority to go and do some of those things. And I don't know that I'm quite there yet. For me, my refueling often comes as an introvert by traveling alone. And I had been super busy this summer with work, which is an unusual place for me because there's a lot of organizations that don't like to do training in summer or hadn't, and that's all shifted, which has been great. But I hadn't had a lot of downtime. So less than a month ago, I just took a 1 week kind of sabbatical, went on a cruise by myself, and it gave me some space to think about things from outside of the business rather than being in it and on it all the time. So I needed to get some stuff cleared up that way. And then it just, was just fun, right? You get to meet other people and go places and
Yeah,
things like that. So
yeah.
for me, that like getting away.
I love that. And I love that you talked about being an introvert and because filling up your cup is different than filling up my cup, because I am an extrovert. However, even extroverts need space and moments by themselves. And we've had a pretty full house here. My mom has been here for a couple weeks. She had emergency eye surgery, and my my dad also came on Saturday. They are not married, and so we had both of them here, and I had my I had my event manager here for the Unstuck event, and a couple other people. We were all in here stuffing boxes and getting everything ready for the event. And it's been a wild couple of weeks. And I travel tonight to Phoenix to go speak tomorrow at their eWomen Network event. And I looked at my husband yesterday. I go, "Do you know how excited I am to be in a hotel room all by my own little self tonight?"
No, it's like once you get on the plane, the decompression starts and you're like,
I know. You feel all of the tension leave your body, right? Even though I'm going for work, it doesn't matter. And like you went on the cruise ship and you took like you needed just space. And I love that as an introvert, you went on a cruise ship, so you're with people, but you're not with people, right?
You can make friends and you don't have any obligation to them. It's one of my favorite ways to go. And, again, I feel like when I need to do bigger thinking stuff for the business,
Hmm.
if I'm just sitting in my, home office, the place that I'm in the most, I can't get out of the day to day. And
No.
so I create those opportunities to pull myself away from that. And, again, over the last few years, there's been different ways to create those opportunities with, prior to COVID, we had conferences and things like that that we were attending, or social or networking things that we were attending more, and that pulls you away. Then COVID hit and you're all just stuck. And now everybody, I think people are reemerging from all that differently and resetting priorities differently. So, I think I don't know what my next, ongoing space for that is, but I definitely know that I need to keep recreating it.
Yeah, you bring up such an interesting point right there because my husband and I were actually talking about this pre-COVID. I really did get all of my energy from being around people. And it was um I was rarely exhausted by it. And then COVID hit and I was very lonely. Like it was very, very, very hard as an extrovert to be isolated like that. A lot of tears, a lot of just, wanting to be hugged. Um, not by my husband, but by my girlfriends. Like it's just
Right.
different. And so then we came out of COVID and we started having these in-person events again. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I gotta go home and sleep. Like I'm exhausted. And so it really, and my husband, as an introvert, I thought it would be like heavenly for him, the COVID isolation, but he likes to, and you're going to probably agree with this just with what you just said. He likes to, when he's ready to go see people, he wants to go see people.
Yep.
And then he didn't have that option. And so it really, I think it's still messing with both of us, with everyone really.
Yeah.
But so it was really interesting talking. I was like, oh man, I thought this was like nirvana for you.
And in some ways but it was forced, right? And so then when
Hmm.
you don't have the choice, it's like, but, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm ready to see people now.
See?
Yeah. So talk to me about what it would be like if you could give me one tool or tip that you have implemented in your business for productivity, what would it be?
So I will tell you that one of keeping my inbox manageable. So, and so that goes back to the blog that we wrote, is just trying to, that inbox can just be such a beast. And some of us who are managing multiple things, I mean, I just at the front of mind right now, I have 6 email inboxes and they all have to stay separate for a variety of reasons. So, and that's probably not all of them. That's just what's in front of me right now.
Mhm.
So if I let that get out of control, that becomes a big mess. So using the tools in whatever tool you're using, if it's Gmail or Outlook, and if you're not using Gmail or Outlook, start using Gmail or
Use
Outlook because
Gmail or Outlook.
right, because I have people who come to me like with AOL
Mhm.
or Yahoo or even Apple Mail. They don't have the features built in. They are not meant to be productivity tools. Honestly, they're email tools, but they're not
They're not
productivity tools.
business tools, yeah.
Heck no. And, if I mean, I don't know. I know people in their personal lives who've oversubscribed and their Gmail accounts are just hundreds of thousands of messages and they can't find the important stuff. And that is overwhelming just in their personal lives at that point. I'm like,
Yeah.
no. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
But the other thing I love is Microsoft To Do. So it's a relatively newer app, and it's a free app that you don't necessarily have to have a Microsoft account to be able to use on your phone and things like that. But this is interesting, Julie. I'd love your input on how this one works because again, you and I are pretty much aligned on how we like to bucket our time as
Mhm.
and then put the tasks into the time rather than the time around the tasks kind of thing.
Yeah.
What To Do does is it allows a place to gather all your tasks, and you can have those multiple lists of things broken down, and it can be real pretty. But you can then add your deadlines, and you can indicate whether, importance of how important something is. So your urgency and importance are addressed. But each day you can go in and add things to the filter called My Day. So you can say,
Hmm.
okay, today these are the three things I'm going to do today. And you put them on there. And so that should be what the front of mind part is. But fascinating enough, and I bet we've all felt this, each day that list resets.
Hmm.
So my day, whatever I add to my list today, isn't necessarily, if I don't get it done, it doesn't automatically show up on that list and pile on for tomorrow. Might not be a priority for tomorrow anymore. So you get to go in and re-add the things to my day as you want and reshape each day. And to me, that is almost like that fresh start rather than the piles of stuff that might be bubbling over from the past.
Interesting. That's interesting to me. I'm excited to bring this to my peeps because to my community because they're always asking, right? Do you have some tool? Do you have this? And we've tried Todoist, which is pretty good, and some of them have tried to use Trello, which I think it's not meant to be that. It's more of a project management type thing, not a task management thing. But I'm interested to take a look at this and see what
Yeah,
what it does because that
good.
reset is really cool. And when I speak, I always ask people like, how many of you have stuff on your to-do list? How many of you have like multiple to-do lists? How many of you have amendments to your to-do list with sticky notes? How many of you have things that have been on your to-do list for, I don't know, a month to a year or two? Like you just keep
Right.
moving it because you're going to get to it one day, or now you're so used to having it on there, but now you don't even see it anymore. And how important is it? And what I like what you just said is it sort of lets you reset and ask yourself, like, how important is it? And where does it need to go? And I'm as you know, I'm a huge proponent of three things. I call it the big three. And that I love their so in alignment. I'm gonna have to. I can't wait to check it out. Thanks for the link. Susie posted the link for us, so
Love it.
for you to
Yay,
check
Susie.
out the app. So fantastic. So here's a question. I know you have your mission statement that you said at the beginning, but so that's a big thing that you have, so to speak, conquered, if we want to call it that. But what else have you like conquered lately? What's something big going on?
To me, it's when you bring the stuff in your brain to life, right? So for the past at least 2 years, I've been trying to figure out a way to serve small businesses in a cost effective. It's just it's where my heart is. Even though we do a lot of stuff with corporate and I work with companies 50,000 plus, I w- my I'm a small business owner, so I want small businesses who often have fewer financial resources as well as fewer human resources to really be able to leverage a lot of what we can do from a productivity standpoint. And I've just been reprogramming in my brain what's possible. And we launched a product in August intended to serve small businesses by working through their outsourced IT partners. And it's the product itself is not really getting a lot of traction, but I launched it. So that was one thing that I conquered.
That's good.
I know, right? Like, let's check it off the list that there is a website out there that Susie's team helped create. Um, it's out there. But even more importantly, it's created the ability to have conversations around this that now I'm able to, that product may never actually sell. That would be okay. Because if what it's doing is it's showing that, oh, we're in the right place, like I can either spend time on product refinement or I can just go service customers. And right now I'm like, let's just go find customers that want something close to what I'm offering and go do it. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in the past, well, I mean, again, it took me about 2 years to bring it to market. And that was, of course, over COVID, but it hadn't found the right people to talk to at the right time. And I feel like we're now finally getting some traction. So that's exciting and scary.
It's really exciting. And you know what? I think if it doesn't scare you a little bit, it's not, you're not pushing yourself, right?
Yep. Exactly.
I talk a lot about, I have a talk called Commit to Courage, but I also have a segment that I in my Unstuck event that's coming up that Jennifer is actually a sponsor for, about the courage zone. And my husband always says, if you're not a little nervous, you're not alive. And I love that you said it's really exciting and it's a little scary.
Hmm.
And if it's a
It
little
should be.
scary, so if it's a
Yep,
little scary in that good way, we know that we're on the right track, right? We know that we're taking the next step and we're putting the
absolutely.
things into place.
Love it.
Yeah, so good. Um, what are you reading or listening to right now in that business development arena? Or what is there someone that you follow that we should that our listeners should check out?
Yes. So actually, I have been doing work with Felicia Searcy,
Okay.
and it helps. She has been helping from a mindset perspective because I'm so like grounded in the practical, right?
Mm-hmm.
And very logical and stuff like that. And Felicia helps just with forward thinking and opening up, living the vision that you're creating for your life. And
Yeah.
so a couple of the books that she puts out there include Your Invisible Power and The Science of Getting Rich. And
Mm-hmm.
they're short reads, they're easy, but man, do they have impact. And that was part of the work I did on that cruise, was really sitting down to start to create the vision for what I want the business to be, as well as my life. As they're so intertwined, the reality is I've been in business 10 years and I've done fine, right? Like it's been
Yeah.
fine. I keep growing, everything is moving in the right direction. But now I'm almost 50. And I'm thinking like, well, what's the next 10 years? Right. And so
Mm-hmm.
rather than thinking it's really between working with Felicia and, following these visioning opportunities and pulling out of the practical and into the possible, um, it's made me say like, how do I want to craft this next 10-year phase with much more intention and, focus and things like that, to move everything in the direction that I want it to be, 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Again, because I don't know, 10 years ago, I'm like, I didn't know what this business was going to be. It was just like,
Right?
it was like,
Yeah.
let's put an LLC after this thing and let's go.
Yeah. So good. Thank you for that. Check out those books. If they're speaking to you, I love that she said they're a quick read and just little ideas that we can plant in our brains can make a huge difference, a huge difference. What is the most helpful thing that you have learned from JMD Productivity Training?
Girl, it's been so fun to listen to how you package what you do, because you're working at that top level of philosophy, but like you're at the theory and I get into like the nitpicky, how do you leverage tech to do it? And what's most fun is when I'm hearing how we align. And the one that makes the most difference for me is just this idea of the buckets. It's the not like we're I would always call it like batching my work, right? Rather than
Mhm.
having to go in order of what my emails are. I would just say, oh, these are the emails about people who want to schedule one-on-ones with me. Let's put them in a place and then I'll go schedule all my one-on-ones back to back. And so I think what you're doing, the biggest activity that made a difference for me was the brain dump and then the categorization,
Yep.
where you made us get all the things that are all the things.
All those things.
That could become a drinking game, Julie, but this is a Monday morning podcast, so I'm not sure that it should be a drinking game yet, but it could be. Um, you made us get all the things out of our brain, and it was not just work or personal, or it truly was the whole span of stuff, and then starting to group and categorize them. And then the next step for me was really figuring out like how much space in one way, it's how much space will each one of those take? Like how
Mhm.
much time would it take to do all of that? But the better question really was how much time should we be devoting to that stuff?
Yes.
Um, and giving that the space that it needs, because then how you had shared how you're able to then carve out the time, like you really create the time to do the things that you highly value, including the golf and the tennis and things like that. And I'm like, oh, that's how that magic works. Oh, the challenge is that I don't love routine. I don't love habits. Having never had kids, I never had to, get up and get breakfast ready for somebody or get somebody to school on time. And my cats aren't super demanding that way. So I don't love like that. I feel like that's rigid. So the final lesson that I would say that I learned from you, which is hard and I know and I'm working on it, but the fact that that structure creates freedom, it doesn't take it away. I'm
Yeah.
getting there. Still a work in progress. Did I get that right though? That the structure that you really kind of creates the freedom?
The structure does create the freedom, and um, there's freedom in the structure.
There is. It's just like you have to take your blinders off to see it, but you're right.
Yeah, there's freedom in the structure, especially the way that I teach it, because it's not like your calendar has to look the same every week or every month. And all of those categories and blocks that we create for those categories are movable. Your calendar becomes a slide puzzle, which creates a lot of freedom and a lot of flexibility. And I have that pushback from a lot of people. I'm an entrepreneur. I don't need the structure. Well, there's got to be some structure, or we don't, or we do everything and we do nothing, or we do everything and nothing matters, or we do everything and everything is equal, and that none of that is true.
You're absolutely right, right? And you know that there's been times where if you don't put those boundaries around it, you can get to the end of the day and have worked all day and be like, "So what did I do?"
Yeah,
And that's not a great feeling.
it's a horrible feeling. It's a horrible feeling that we all experience. And even the best of us productivity experts experience. But I do give you tools and abilities to catch yourself and to have them less often, and to actually be able to look at it and go, oh, here's where I went wrong today.
Right?
And there's success in that, right? There's success in realizing, oh, well, that was a storm, and I don't really, and let me look at that and do my review of the day so that I can do some mitigation in the future.
Right? I love it.
Yeah. So, one final question I have for you is, what do you have coming up in your business that you want to highlight, or do you have something, some free gift or something for my folks that you would love to share with us?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I'm super excited to be a sponsor of the Unstuck event.
Woo
And so
woo!
if you have anybody who is, listening and they're like, oh my gosh, I really want to go. And if there is a challenge to attend financially, I might or might not have the ability to invite someone else to attend as my guest. So please don't hesitate to reach out to Julie Miller Davis or to me, and we can make that happen. Additionally, what we really do here is we work with organizations. I do work with some individuals to help with things in their inbox or in Excel and things like that. And you're welcome to reach out to me on my website at www.excelandflourish.com and schedule a free 10-minute call. And let's see if there's a way that you need help. I'm happy to help with.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jennifer. I am thrilled that you had time to do this with me today. Thank you so much. This was so much fun. It's always so much fun to spend time with you. And so I can't wait for the 3 days at the end in a couple weeks that we'll be together for Unstuck. And I wanted to thank you for being a sponsor at my event also. It's we're so aligned and we speak so much of the same language. And I love that how you defined us, that you're that support on the technical side and I'm much more around those front, you're the back end and I'm the front end kind of the nicely of what we need in place to be productive and to be clean in the
Yep.
way that we are, like, to come into our day and feel like there's a clean slate, right?
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I just want to thank you so much. And I'm going to just take a couple seconds here and talk about what we have coming up at JMD Productivity. If you don't mind, if you want to leave the studio, you may. And just, I thank you so much for being here. If you want to hang out while I just say 4 bullet points here, please do. We've got Power Up Your Productivity on the 24th of October. It's where I come in and do a free Q&A training and talk to everybody about just a productivity tip, do a little training on it, and take your questions if you have them. That's at noon Mountain Time. Unstuck the event. We have about 17 swag boxes left. So if you are one of the next 17 people to register, you are guaranteed a swag box and a spot at the event. So we would love to have you. And JB already said she may probably be able to bring a guest if someone is listening and wants to reach out to me or to JB, even on LinkedIn, and say, hey, I am really curious about this event. Hook me up. We might be able to help you out. And I am traveling to Wisconsin for the Idea Collective Retreat in November, the 10th through the 12th. I am a sponsor for that event and so excited to do that. And the Idea Collective, Pat Miller, their founder, is also a sponsor of Unstuck the event. So little bit of collaboration going on there. And we have all the things. We're back with all the things on November 14th at noon Mountain Time. Our guest for next month is still to be determined. So that's what we have coming up. JB, thank you so very much for offering a 15 to 20-minute call with you. We really appreciate that. You guys see what she's got to offer, and she's given us so many tools today, the to-do at Microsoft, and books that we can discover. And JB, thank you for pouring into our audience today and giving us all the things that you help us with to be less busy with all the things.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me today. It was a blast.
Thanks, Jennifer. We'll see you soon.